So here's the best part of the gift.
Yeah.
So I open up, inside is a card with just covered in exclamation points.
Yeah, because that's what normal, customary to send with a gift is to send a card.
Yes, send a gift card. And so I was like, I'll open the card and confirm that this is from Lindy. And then Lindy said, what did you say, Lindy?
I said, well, I don't know. What did I say? I said, I thought that it was going to be an auto-generated.
I thought it was going to be printed. I didn't know that the shop owner was going to have to handwrite it themselves.
I went ahead and I wrote the stupidest thing I could think of. I workshopped it. I said, how can I make this more stupid? And I did not know that an artisan was going to have to take a pen.
An artist who we're trying to support in 2025.
Yes. I did not know that a human being was going to have to hand scribe. Because you know where you don't get that kind of service? Amazon.com. They just, you type in your gift message and then it just, a robot prints it and sends it to your friend. Not on Etsy, my friend.
Nope. Actually, you sent me a bouquet of flowers when I left my last job where they had to handwrite the message that you sent.
What was it?
But it was like, you did it! You destroyed the Supreme Court! Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the podcast.
It's a podcast we're calling Text Me Back because the conceit of the show is that we text each other a lot.
Which is true. We're not lying about the
That's a
conceit
fact
of the show.
And sometimes Lindy posts our very real texts on the Patreon, so you should subscribe.
It's true.
By the way, this is Text Me Back. It's a podcast. I'm Megan Hatcher-Mays.
And I'm Mel Gobson.
And you're Mel Gobson. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the program. We have much to discuss today on our third episode of 2025. We're going to be talking about a Christmas addendum. We need to add something to the list that we didn't have to discuss when we first talked about Christmas 2 weeks ago.
A new present has been received.
New gift just dropped.
Yep.
So get excited. You'll never guess. Actually, I was going to say you'll never guess what it is, but I don't think you will.
No.
Take 2 seconds and write down a guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And then email a picture of what you wrote down to deartextmeback@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yep. Thank you.
You did it.
I did it. And then we can see if anyone got it right.
Don't cheat. There's no way for me to verify if you cheated or not. Okay. But don't, because that would be disrespectful to the spirit of the show.
Exactly. And remember, he sees you when you're sleeping and he knows when you're awake.
That's called Santa's list, baby.
If you don't want to be on the naughty list next winter holiday, don't frickin' cheat.
You better not frickin' cheat.
Also, if anyone gets it right, we'll know you cheated.
Yeah, there's really no way to win this contest, which by the way isn't a contest because I'm not offering to send you a gift.
There's no prize.
If you do get it right, but also there's no way you will. And so if you do, you're a liar. So
if there's one thing about us, Megan, we know how to make the podcast fun.
Yeah. I think we can all agree that we are building our audience right now. We're not alienating anybody. Okay. Anyway, so that's the first thing. Xmas addendum we will be discussing.
Yep.
We will also be discussing normal news.
No. Normal news.
Oh dear. If you would like to improve upon that jingle, if you can, I'd like to see you try. Feel free to email it to us, deartextmeback@gmail.com. We've gotten a lot of jingles this year, and I'm feeling great about it.
Yep.
So keep up the good work. And then finally, we will be doing a beloved classic segment that we call Segment Pubes, parentheses, politics preview with 2 dead BBWs who hate it. Because interestingly enough, we are recording this on Thursday, January 16th. You are hearing this in your ear holes on Thursday, January 23rd, which means that 3 days ago, they're saying Donald Trump. That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
Is that this man has been, I don't know. I don't know what could happen between now and then. But as far as I'm aware, this man's getting sworn into the presidency for a second time, folks.
That's
on Monday, January 20th,
saying.
which that's what they are saying. And so if all goes according to plan, that happened 3 days ago. So let us know how that's going, because we don't know.
Please email us from the future and let us know how that's going.
Let us know how that's going. Because I personally don't really like it. I mean, I know that eggs are expensive, but do you really eat that many eggs? What's wrong with you? Just eat something else.
You can't.
Is it that bad?
You can't possibly be eating that many eggs.
How many sons do you have? And how many eggs do they need?
Buy a chicken. They poop them out.
God damn. Okay, so anyway, so that happened 3 days ago. But here on January 16th, we're living through a different type of pain, which is listening to Donald Trump's executive branch nominees have their confirmation hearings.
Ooh.
But anyways, we will talk more about that in segment Pubes. But before we get into all of that, here on January 16th, a sad thing has occurred. You're probably over it by now, where you are on January 23rd. No, it's impossible. I actually think I might never get over this. We have just heard that David Lynch died today. He had emphysema. And by the way, his announcement that he had emphysema was weirdly the funniest thing I've ever read in my life. It was like, I love to smoke cigarettes. I love the lighting. I love tobacco. I love the smoking. I love the burning of the paper. There's nothing bad about smoking, except I have emphysema and I had to quit. And I was like, God, I love him so much. But he passed away. He also had been experiencing some issues because of the wildfires down in California, which are terrifying. And he had to be evacuated. And obviously, like, he was on oxygen. So it was really difficult. But his family announced that he passed away. And it was very sad. You know, we had just been talking about him. And we'd just been talking about the Garmonbozia, the pain and the sorrow, and Twin Peaks and stuff. And I don't know. It just hit me really sad because I love his work. I love him as a person. I think he's a very funny person. His work was very meaningful to me, not just Twin Peaks, but like Blue Velvet and everything else. Like his version of Dune is very psychotic, and you should all watch this like massive money losing masterpiece that he made with
Maybe
Kyle
I'll watch
MacLachlan.
that tonight.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a very long time.
It's wild. The
so
graphics
scary.
The graphics really
I find
really
it
leave
scary.
a lot to be desired.
It's one of those things that's so weird that it becomes so spooky I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's not like it's also silly. You know what I mean?
I know.
It rings my silly alarm, but then I'm terrified.
I know, but it's so scary, you know?
Yeah.
So anyways, it just made me really sad, especially since we had just been talking about him and I just been reflecting on Twin Peaks very recently. And I got a little sad. I cried a little bit, which I usually don't cry when a celebrity dies or like a famous person dies, but I did have some tears come out because we're going to talk about politics later, but I just was feeling sad. I feel like his death represents the death of many things. Like there's never going to be another person who gets to make something like not just one thing that's really weird, but like 50 really weird things and be given like artistic license to make something very profound and strange that is really meaningful to millions of people and doesn't make that much money probably. In fact, probably loses a lot of it. And he obviously was very, inspirational to a lot of other filmmakers, and it's just sad to be like the Facebookification of the arts, and the AI of it all. Just I don't know. So it was not just that he died, but I just was like, nothing weird is ever gonna get made again.
It's hard not to sound like a person who's 1,000 years old.
Yes,
it's hard not to sound like your own grandpa. But it does feel like, and I know that to some degree, this is me not understanding or being out of touch with what the young people are doing, not having the vision. But it is hard sometimes not to feel like we just have to, and I, my parents went through this, I'm sure. It's like, you just watch these lights go out one by one, like, I'm sure my dad was sad when like Jimmy Stewart died, or I don't know, whatever. I don't remember my dad ever saying one word about Jimmy Stewart, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, sure.
you watch, I mean, it's weird, like, Brad Pitt looks elderly now or whatever, you know, like,
Yeah.
and like to my kids, they're like, who is that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, like, that's the natural course of things for the old people to die. But I'm like, but those aren't the old people.
But that's a hot young man.
That's a hot young man.
Like, you don't understand.
Like,
He
I
was
feel
on
like
the cover of all the magazines when I was a child. He's endlessly youthful. I don't know what you mean.
like, I feel like George Clooney's like teetering around with a cane, you know? Like,
Yeah.
what's happening? And
What are you talking about?
and then I'm like, okay, I'm looking around, like, what has replaced this? And it's just like a vegan woman on Instagram reels who's slamming cans of chickpeas down in her blender to make ice cream. And I'm like, well, that is weird. It is weird.
But not like that.
Why are you so violent with all the food?
I know. They're constantly fucking chucking it on the counter and then they're bashing it with a knife.
You know, you brought this up. You brought this up early in the podcast, and I didn't know what you were talking about. And I really want to apologize because it's a plague. It makes me so angry, like violently angry for some reason. Anyway, but especially now that AI is like making music and stuff, and anyone can just be like, this song is for the girl who left home and only brought her boots. And then it's like, you left home and only brought your boots. You know, and like
it's like every interstitial on a Netflix dating show is like, watch your back because the other girl is there looking at your man. Like every song is hyper specific to that situation. Yeah. By the way, like we didn't talk about this ahead of time, but one of the CEOs that runs one of those AI music companies had this quote this week that was like, well, it's really important to have a company like this because nobody even enjoys making music. It's really hard. And all the time that people spend making music, they hate it. That's what they say, the musicians. And then you have to learn an instrument. You have to know how to do something. And it's so hard. And it's like, what? What are you talking about? People famously love music. It's one of the top things. It's one of our only nice things. And you were like, people don't like to make it.
People famously starve so that they can play guitar for a living and never make $1.
Never make a singular dollar.
People call starving artist. It's like a cliche. Like,
hello?
It's playing music is one of the top things that people do so that they don't kill themselves.
Have you ever heard of that?
They're full of feelings.
Like, to me, it really just came down to like, I don't know how to do that. So nobody must enjoy it. And it was like globalizing this one person's experience. But so much of life feels like that now where it's like, well, I think this is stupid. So everybody must hate it also. And it just creeps into art in that same way where it's like, well, this, Lost Highway is really weird. Or Mulholland Drive is really weird. I can't imagine anyone wanting to sit through a 2-hour movie. We should just stop making that.
Dude.
We should just stop doing that.
Again, not to be my own grandpa, but like the death of the attention span is upsetting and scary.
I feel like I was one of its murderers, and I do feel bad about that. But it's crazy. It's like, it really is. Everything has to be in a 7-minute little digestif. But this idea that people hate making art, I really just don't think that that's right. Like, I don't think that's correct. I think the reality is that there are people that are resentful because they don't think that they can. Yeah. And so instead what we end up with is AI CEO music instead of like this beautiful soaring score from Angelo Badalamenti from Twin Peaks, that instantly tells you what the show is going to be. Right. Terrifying. It's going to terrify your ass off. You're going to be spooked and scared and uneasy for the entire run of the show. And the song does not have to have lyrics that say, you're gonna be uncomfortable for the entire length of the show. You know
what? And I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to say there's no excuse and there is no reason to ever have any AI generated music or art because you might say, well, Lindy, what about the most innocuous, least artful type of music, which would be hold music? And you're telling me that AI can improve upon.
Like it was
Yeah.
like everyone realized they were having the exact same experience with that particular hold music, and then This American Life found out everything you needed to know about it. That's beautiful.
That's part of being a society. Like, that's one of the most beautiful things that's ever happened. And I don't need AI to make a song that's like, you're on hold, just wait a minute. A guy is gonna come. We're gonna pick it up.
By the way, he's probably gonna deny your claim, girl.
You shouldn't shoot his boss. It would be bad for society, of which I am a part.
That's illegal, by the way.
I am not a robot. I am a real human woman singing a song.
By the way, if you ask me if I'm a robot, I laugh and demur.
So, okay, anyway, I think I know it can't be true that there are no bright lights coming up behind David Lynch. You know, I know that there are, but it is still, it's hard to witness the end of David Lynch, the end of Prince, the end of David Bowie. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, please don't email me about allegations. I can't right now.
I can't really. So, you guys, 3 days ago, as far as I'm aware, Donald Trump just got sworn in as president.
Yeah, I don't know.
have time for this. I really need to listen to some Prince songs if that's okay with you.
Please let me have it, please.
Don't take it away from me.
And you know what, Megan? You know what this got me thinking about?
What?
I never watched the new Twin Peaks. So
oh my God.
I think it's time
You
for
should.
me to have a marathon.
You
It's hard
should.
because I live in the woods in the Pacific
It's
Northwest.
So scary.
Yeah, and like and it's too scary. Like, a Hom won't watch it with me. Oh, I bet I could get Roy to watch it with me. But like,
if you ever come here for an extended period of time, we could watch it together in the daytime in Washington, D.C. It's a lot less scary.
Okay.
Because I bought the whole set.
Great.
On DVD. The return is way scarier, by the way, than the original, just so you know.
Because the original already is too scary to watch while living in Washington in the forest. Like, there's a reason why I have watched the first like 6 episodes of Twin Peaks 47,000 times.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it one time. Right. And then I always try again. And then I'm like, no, never mind. I can't.
The first 6 is just kind of like a goofy mix-em-ups with Coop, Hawk, and the gang. Harry Truman and his boys. And then it's like, oh no, don't go in there. Don't go into One-Eyed Jacks. It's so scary.
It's so scary, dude.
But anyway, all that to say, I hope you all are watching some David Lynch in his honor and supporting local art however you can, because everything is so shitty. Here's a way to support independent art.
I know a way. Yeah.
You could subscribe to our Patreon. David, I'm sorry.
I think David would want to help.
Patreon.com/TextMeBackPod. Maybe we'll do a movie club with a David Lynch film, one of the less scary ones. So that's our first segment of the day. We're calling it Rest in Power King David Lynch. We love you so much. All right, we're going to take a little breaky break, I guess, and come back with Xmas Addendum.
Oh, I'm so excited for Xmas Addendum, a classic segment.
Okay, send in your guesses for what you think it is.
With a copy of today's newspaper. Well, folks, we're back, and it's time for the segment you've all been begging for. Every week we get so many emails saying the same thing. Please, please, please bring back the Christmas Addendum segment that you always do. That's a real segment. And that's the segment where we talked about our Christmas presents already, but then somebody got another Christmas present.
You'll never guess who, and you'll never guess what.
So I'm going to tell you who.
Okay.
I'll tell you who, which is that Meagan got a Christmas
did.
present.
I surely did.
In the mail from
Yes.
me.
From Santa Claus.
From Santa Claus, excuse me. That's what I meant.
Yes, what happened was I believe you texted me for my address, but then I got a different Then I got a different present. No, but let me just explain how I experienced it.
But I just want you to know that for once in my life, we don't have to put this on the podcast, but for once in my life, I didn't text you for your address. I found it in my stuff without having to bother you, and I was so proud of myself.
So first you texted me for my address, and I was like, that's weird. How come she doesn't know my address? No, just kidding. No. And so I was like, so I sent it to you, and then I received a gift, and I thought, this must be why Lindy asked me for my address, because inside was a little tiny clay snake that was sent to me from Corianton Hale, who is the beautiful king who made the logo for our show and designed the merch. Buy some merch, please. And I texted you and I was like, oh my God, did you get one of these too? This is so cute. And you did. And you also got a snake from Corianton. We'll post both of them on our Instagram so you can see they're very cute.
And he wrote a cute little note that was you guys inspired me to make these.
Yeah, it was so special. I was like, I've never felt happier in my life. This is so beautiful. I got a clay snake in the mail.
You should follow, like, everything that Corey does is beautiful. His cooking is beautiful. His design work is beautiful. And he now makes beautiful ceramics, and you should follow his ceramic studio. We'll put it in the show notes because everything is insane and gorgeous.
It was beautiful. It was great. So I have my little snake in a place of pride in my home. So I was like, okay, well, that wraps up that mystery. That's why Lindy wanted my address. And then like a week later, you were like, did you get another Christmas present? I was like, no, I got the snake. And you were like, oh, never mind. Don't worry about it. And then I started to get scared. Because you can't leave Lindy up to her own devices. She's terrifying. A little devil woman. A little ickle devil, Lindy, you know?
Well, at least I'm not a toe rag, Meagan.
That's your nickname. So anyway, then I did get a piece of mail, a different piece of mail in my mailbox. And it was a box.
Yeah.
A sort of nondescript white box. Mm-hmm. And I opened the box, and inside of it was this.
I hadn't seen it. It's so small.
It is a, 5-inch high, sort of custom made Guy Fieri clock. And the clock apparatus is like right in the middle of his chest. Yeah. He looks very stoic in the image that they used to make the clock.
Yep.
And then of course the second hand is squiggly, just to I think represent rock and roll,
electric guitar.
And it's beautiful. I added a battery to it immediately. He keeps track of time in my kitchen and gazes upon me as I watch my television shows. He's beautiful.
Okay, He's know beautiful. What? Now that I'm looking at him, I want one.
You should get one. Can you pick which image you get?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing other ones, but I'm gonna do some research.
He's beautiful. So here's the best part of the gift. By the way, at this point, I obviously assumed it was you, but it didn't have your name on it or anything. Yeah. So I open up. Inside is a card with just covered in exclamation points.
Yeah, because that's what normal, customary to send with a gift is to send a card.
Yes, send a gift card. And so I was like, I'll open the card and confirm that this is from Lindy. And on the inside is a handwritten message, not in Lindy's handwriting.
Nope.
It is in the handwriting of the shopkeeper, the Etsy shopkeeper from whence the Guy Fieri clock came. And here's what it says. Holy moly, Stromboli! You know what time it is. Time to have a bomb.com Christmas and a Funkalicious Flavortown New Year. And then 7 exclamation points. Oh no. She's dying.
I love cigarettes. I
love the burning. So I sent I sent this to Lindy. I said, did you send me this? And then Lindy said, what did you say, Lindy?
I said, well, I don't know. What did I say? I said, I thought that it was going to be an auto-generated.
I thought it was going to be printed. I didn't know that the shop owner was going to have to handwrite it themselves.
I went ahead and I wrote the stupidest thing I could think of. I said, I workshopped it. I said, how can I make this more stupid? I Googled Guy Fieri's top catchphrases. That's where I found Holy Moly Stromboli. And I did not know that an artisan was going to have to take a pen.
An artist who we're trying to support in 2025.
Yes, we'll put this Etsy sellers page in the show notes. I did not know that a human being was going to have to hand scribe. Because you know where you don't get that kind of service? Amazon.com, which we won't put in the show notes. They just, you type in your gift message and then it just, a robot prints it and sends it to your friend. Not on Etsy, my friend.
Nope. Actually, you sent me a bouquet of flowers when I left my last job where they had to handwrite the message that you sent. It wasn't Holy Moly Stromboli level, but it was like, you did it. You destroyed the Supreme Court.
You made them eat your ass.
Good job, fucker.
Oh, I didn't even realize this was a pattern of behavior for me. Oh.
We'll post photos of both beautifully handwritten cards on our Instagram.
But I want to say I have one other thing to say, Meagan.
Yes.
You received your Guy Fieri clock, but I haven't received something. A thank you.
Oh.
I've heard a lot of giggles, and I don't know if you even like the clock, Meagan.
A lot of giggles and gags. A lot of japes and jaws.
But is the clock a hit? Is the clock a welcome addition to your home? I'm not sure.
Do you know that show? That show Forged in Fire? I'm sure you've watched it.
Do I know the show Forged in Fire?
I was like, I'm gonna offend her just by asking because I know you've watched every episode. But you know, they have to make swords and knives and stuff. You know, these smiths have to make their own swords and knives based on whatever the challenge is for the week.
Yeah, it's a reality competition show about making swords. It's incredible.
Swords and knives. And one of the judges has a catchphrase. So then they test the swords and knives to see if they can do the stuff they're supposed to do. Are they sharp? Can they cut stuff? Anyway, one of the judges has a catchphrase when he tests a knife and it's successful. He goes, "It will kill." And that's how I feel about the Guy Fieri clock. In other words, I love it. It will heal. He's beautiful. I can't decide if I want him in my office or I've been keeping him in the kitchen because, you know, it does tick. It's a clock.
That's hard. Yeah.
And so when we record, I don't want the constant ticking of Guy Fieri's heart. Yeah, the telltale Guy Fieri in the background of the show. But he's been having a good time out in the kitchen. And I feel like that's appropriate.
That's where he belongs.
He's a chef, you know? So thank you, chef.
He's watching everything that you cook and he's like, you know what he's saying? He's saying that's the real deal right there. He's going, it's amazeballs and it's awesome sauce in your kitchen.
Can I say one quick thing about the Food Network before we move on?
Please. Oh my God. Yes.
I don't know. I feel like this happens on Food Network more than it happens anywhere else, but it's like somebody learns a word and then they're all saying it.
Oh.
Like for a while, the top word on the Food Network was unctuous. Like everybody was talking about the unctuousness of a dish. Yeah. And I was like, who taught them this? Who taught Michael Voltaggio the word unctuous? It had to have been Ted from Chopped. I don't know. But now the new one is craveable.
Oh, gross.
They're constantly being like, this bite is delicious. It's so craveable. What do you mean craveable? Like you could crave. You're able to crave it. But do you?
We're unclear if you do or not.
Unclear if you actually crave this bite or if it's just able to be craved by you.
Meanwhile, no one's ever saying toothsome. No one's ever saying flavorsome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of words being left behind. And by the way, this is conceptually related. on the surface it's food related, but it's not really food related. But I have to get this off my chest.
Mm-hmm.
When the fuck did every pair of leggings have to become buttery soft? I am so fucking sick of things being buttery soft. I want to throw myself off of a cliff and
a buttery soft cliff.
That the ground isn't buttery soft so that I smash to death.
I hope the cliff is buttery soft so that it falls away under my feet.
Oh, yes.
Taking
perfect.
me to death.
Jesus Christ.
Taking me straight to the Reaper.
Straight through the core of the earth and come out in China where all the leggings are rough and hard. One can
texturally uncomfortable. That's what I want. I don't know. So I'm just saying, I don't know what's going on at the Food Network. The unctuousness, the craveability. I feel like the first time I noticed it was with umami. I mean, I know that's a word that has existed for a while, but I just feel like the Food Network people, like one person heard the word umami and they were like, I'm never gonna let it go.
Yeah. You know what? Bring buttery soft back to the Food Network. Take it out. I mean, it out of my QVC. Back at the Food Network. Unctuous is out. Craveable is out permanently.
Toothsome is in.
Toothsome is in. Mouthfeel out.
Oh, mouthfeel. I hate. Just say texture, you freak.
Just say texture.
Anyway, that's Xmas Addendum. Thank you, Lindy, for the beautiful gift.
You're welcome. I'm glad you liked your present. Merry Christmas. And that's the Christmas Addendum.
Oh, Lord. We don't need a jingle for that.
No. Yeah, we do. the constantly recurring segment, Christmas Addendum.
Yeah, we're going to do it next month, too. So get excited. Be right back. Here's a fun segment. It's called Normal News.
Give us a jingle, Megs.
Do you have it? Oh. I was going to do like the BBC, like do. Normal News.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It's pretty good. It's not a song, but you know.
It doesn't always have to be a song. It could just be a sting.
Do you have it? Normal News.
I got a normal news for you, Megs.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
They brought a dead pig's brain back to life.
Oh.
Pig DNA.
I didn't even think about how this could benefit me. I need them to bring this dead pig's brain back to life. Okay.
Oh, okay. And I'm sorry. What is the source for this normal news?
Yeah, science.
If you could.
Scientists. So no, this is a real science.
Okay.
It was reported in a science magazine. I saw it on a TikTok that was then reposted on Instagram. But look, I have looked it up. There's an article on NPR. Scientists restore some function in the brains of dead pigs.
Nice.
Yeah, you know what they were thinking about? Apples.
Slop.
So the brains of dead pigs have been somewhat revived by scientists hours after the animals were killed in a slaughterhouse. Oh my God! What if they revived it somewhat, and what it was thinking was, I don't mind being turned into bacon. You don't have to feel guilty about it, Lindy. That would be amazing.
They were like right in the process of absolving you, and then their consciousness was restored so that they could send you a little note.
So basically, here's what I gathered from the TikTok that I watched. They took these pig's brains that had been dead for like 4 hours, and then they recirculated some kind of liquid in there. And then the brain started thinking again, I guess.
And that's science.
No, okay, hold on. It says they. Okay, I'm skeptical of this part. The Yale University research team is careful to say that none of the brains regained the kind of organized electrical activity associated with consciousness or awareness. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to do my own research on that part. Freaking blockbuster sentence. The implications of the study have staggered ethicists as they contemplate how this research should move forward and how it fits into the current understanding of what separates the living from the dead.
Oh my God.
I know.
Whoa. This is really bringing back shades of Vampire Boy padlocking the toe.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess I'm kind of feeling like when I go padlock the brain, please. I don't want those Yaley weirdos touching my stuff.
Oh, I do.
Don't let those Ivy League freaks like rob my grave.
I want them to rob my grave and go all in there and get all my memories out and put them on a hard drive and then sell it for $100.
Sell it to the computer machine that's making all of the art now. Thank you.
And then donate the money to the poor.
To Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what they did. So they took 32 pig heads. Mm-hmm. They flushed the brains to clear out residual blood and cool down the tissue. They placed the isolated brains in an experimental chamber. Then they hooked up blood vessels to a device that pumped in a specially formulated chemical cocktail for 6 hours. Then the brains, the tissue and cellular structure were preserved and cell death was reduced. So, like, I guess a normal brain, like, as soon as you die, it just becomes buttery soft and starts to disintegrate. But if you go to the experimental chamber and then you let Yale, what's their mascot?
A bulldog, I think.
You let the bulldogs inject special cocktail in there, then you retain your brain shape, and they said it's not a living brain, but it is a cellularly active brain.
What does that mean?
Some functions were restored. I think it means that it came back to life and it had all its memories and heaven is real and
and we praise capital HIM, capital PIG. Thank you. Love you.
And zombies are our friends, and you only have to padlock the toe if they were mean in real life. Because everyone's brain is the same beyond the grave as it is in the grave and before the grave.
And we learned that from science. Well, thank you, Lindy, for your news from science. I love science, and I love to hear about it from trusted sources.
Yep.
So, and shout out to any pig that might be listening today with your newly cellular active brain. Hello.
I haven't verified it, but I can only assume that they do put headphones on the brain.
Yes,
and they play
they play
podcasts for it. Yeah.
Hello, Hamilton, if you're listening, and Porky. I have a
Bo Ham Yang.
Why are they always named after Bo and Yang? Okay, I have a normal news, actually.
Oh,
Do you
good.
want to know what it is?
Yeah, is it normal? Wait, is it normal or is it not normal?
It's extremely normal.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. Well, as long as it's normal news, then great.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly normal. So basically, what happened was I love my celeb gossip, but I feel like it's illegal for me to be looking at dailymail.co.uk these days because it's just like a right wing propaganda machine. But they always have the pics, but I can't be looking at it. And I use an ad blocker. Sorry if that's illegal, but I do. And Us Weekly won't let me look at their website at all unless I turn off my ad blocker, which I, on principle, do not want to do. And by the way, I wouldn't mind looking at a couple of ads, but the way that digital ads work now, it's like the page won't even load. Just hit me with like 2 well-curated ads. I'll buy something. I promise I will.
Yeah.
But don't make the whole screen realtor.com or something. I can't see the stuff.
I remember back when ads were starting to happen on the blogs. And it would be like, people would be outraged. They'd be like, there was an ad that popped up Like, oh, yeah. And then we were like, this cannot stand. People will never read the media again if we let the ads do this. And now it's just like, does the article even exist? I'm just like searching tiny cracks between the ads where there's like 3 lines of text.
I regularly get like a kill screen every time I try to go to Us Magazine where it's like fatal error. We cannot load this page. There's too much fucking shit on it. And I'm like, I just want to know.
But Meagan, what if you impulsively decide that you need to make a purchase at Carvana?
Yeah, what if I do? I'll never find out what the Kardashians said about Mayor Karen Bass, but I can finally get that Volvo off a fucking car elevator. Anyways, so that has led me to going to people.com. Not my preferred,
sure,
outlet for celeb gossip. It's a good website though, but because people.com gets it. The ladies, and I use that term gender neutrally, who go to people.com are not just there for the celeb gossip. They're there for the murder as well. Yeah. So you could go to people.com and be like, oh, George Clooney's twins just got into private school. Shout out to them. Click. Yep. And next story recommended. Guess who just murdered their whole family? I'll be like, I don't know. Click, 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 click.
It's Dave.
Lady. It's Dave somewhere in South Carolina. Shout out to him. So, it's a great website for that, but it's not like
they also always, they always do like the human interest where to balance out the murder, where it'll be like,
yeah,
here's how this kid used his ping pong skills to help 100 dogs.
Yeah, or like this baby wiped out school lunch debt
for the other.
Listen to her heroic story. Anyway, so I was on people.com, and the headline I saw was mom washes dirt out of son's mouths and vacuums it off her floor. Days later, she learns it wasn't dirt, parentheses, exclusive. And I said, what the fuck was it? If it wasn't dirt, then what the fuck was it?
Yeah.
What do you mean parentheses exclusive?
Why is it exclusive? I had the same experience this morning because my phone will pop up a thing being like Apple News Alert. And I was like, sure, what is it? Because I always think maybe it's going to say Donald Trump died. So I always tap. By the way, not once
has it been that
in hours. But yeah, and so I clicked on it, and then I saw the same headline, and I was like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
What do you mean it wasn't dirt?
If it wasn't dirt, then what the fuck was it? So
tell them what it was, Meagan.
I clicked the fastest I've ever, I think possibly, clicked on anything in my life. And here's the tale. Monica Long on TikTok made a little video. She's got 3 boys, 14, 3, and 2. She says they're on the spectrum, so her house is a little bit wild. You never know what the day is going to be like. She was cleaning and getting ready for some birthday party for her youngest. And she was like, there's dirt all over them, all over their face. They were covered in dust and powder, some in their mouths. And it was all over the floor. So she cleaned it all up. A couple days later, she was, cleaning, tidying up. She found, folks, she found her grandfather, Papa's, urn. And it was empty. And I think, much like Monica, our listeners are putting 2 and 2 together. It wasn't dirt. It was Papa.
She posted it. It must have been on Reddit or something with a really eloquent, very concise caption, and it just said, "They got Papa."
They got Papa. Yeah, they sure did. They sure did. They climbed up to where Papa's earthly remains were stored in his urn, pulled it down, cracked the urn open with their mouths, and got it all over their bodies, faces, mouths, and floor. And she just thought it was dirt.
Yeah.
She says, I realized, oh my gosh, they got Papa. And I vacuumed him up. I couldn't believe this happened. I pieced it together.
Not Papa.
And I just dusted. She says, I pieced it together and I just dusted and cleaned them off, not thinking anything of it. But they might have eaten part of their grandfather, which is horrifying.
Well,
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sure that there are some ancient cultures that used to do that. and it was a good idea.
Right.
So maybe it's a good idea. I have a couple things to say.
Go on.
Thing 1, maybe it was a good idea. Thing 2, like maybe they've absorbed some of Papa's powers.
Some of his essence. Yeah. We don't know.
Thing 2, I just want to offer a brief counterpoint to the headline. It wasn't dirt. It is dirt. I mean,
it is. It is.
It is basically
That's
dirt.
what they say. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I mean,
hey, come on. I mean, what's dirt then? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my body is making dust and dirt all the time. That's one of the nastiest things about being alive. You know what I mean?
Thing 3. Here's what you got to do, Veronica. What's her name?
Monica.
Pop open that vacuum. Grab that vacuum bag. I want you to go down to the UPS store. Pop that in a mailer. Send it to Yale. Get them to circulate. Get them to circulate some fluid through that vacuum cleaner bag. And then you're going to want to put your ear up to the bag.
You are.
And
you know what? Go ahead and send a handwritten note that says, "Holy moly, Stromboli! They got Papa."
Yeah. And then
I didn't just get Papa. They consumed Papa.
And you know what? You know what they said? Papa was craveable.
He said, it's unctuous. They said, I thought you were going to say, they said, chomp, 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 chomp. Not Papa. Please. Like, and by the way, this is all played for laughs. I'm like, they ate Papa.
They ate Papa.
These little ragamuffins consumed your grandfather. By the way, she contacted Mama and was like, "I'm so sorry to tell you this, but they got Papa and I vacuumed him up." According to Mama, she said, "Don't worry about it. I'm sure he'd find that hilarious."
Well, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Once you get the vacuum bag over to Yale, put your ear up. And what you're gonna hear coming from inside is LOL.
Oh. That's my Papa impression.
Yeah. So I think we figured this out. I think it all worked out. I think the boys have only strengthened their souls. And shout out to Papa.
I want to say big ups to Papa for keeping it all the way 100. And thank you to Monica, I guess, for sharing this tale of exclusively with people.com. Okay, so thank you so much. And that, Lindy, is normal news. We're being punchy today. I like it.
I
know. Okay, as we have stated repeatedly today that you are listening to this is January 23rd, 3 days after Donald McDonald Trump was sworn in to the presidency. And we don't really talk about politics a lot on the show, but we thought maybe we should, since I assume that whatever happened on Monday was probably really horrifying and deranged. I don't know what it was, but I bet it sucked. So we thought we would try to process with you, even though we don't really know what happened, by complaining and crying. I didn't really think this segment through at all, though.
That's fine.
So,
I can kick it off. I have something to say.
What do you have to say?
It's not just a politics power minute. It's also another special segment because the two go hand in hand most of the time. It's also a segment pubes. People using bad ethics and systems. Segment pubes. One more time. Let's hear it. One more time. Segment pubes. Remember when he was called the Donald?
Yes.
How come we don't do that anymore?
In his apprentice days.
Yeah. Because the Donald, our fearless leader, our God, really.
Yes.
Is, I think,
our gilded king.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He has promised to bring some life back to my industry, which is currently shattered and on fire.
Yes.
The Hollywood industry, the
the
business
industry of
show.
Hollywood. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald has recognized our pain and our fear, you know, all the writers and actors who are out of work and the way that the people that are struggling. And he's devised a plan that I, for one, can't see a downside to. I don't see how this could fail. He has created a task force of special ambassadors to quote unquote troubled Hollywood, and they're gonna bring back quote unquote lost business. Which, what do you mean lost?
What do you mean
lost to who? Who? What? Anyway,
about?
But I'm not to disagree with
never
our great leader, but he's got his 3 best men on the case: Sylvester Stallone, Jon Voight, and Mel Gibson, looking like an absolute reanimated demonic pig brain.
Yes,
from hell. And those 3
nice. Mel Gibson went straight to the plastic. He went to Dr. Miami and said, "Give me the top lip removal." He said, "Take it off."
He said,
"These chompers, these chompers got to fly free, pal.
They got to shine.
Let them loose."
He said, "Give me the regular face ectomy, ghost face ostomy, ghost face steoplasty." Okay,
thank you.
I want to have the face of a ghost, and I want to kill people. And I think that there is truly no one better to bring back thriving business to Hollywood than 3 losers, 3 washed up losers,
disgraced fucking freaks
who haven't been cast in anything that they didn't self-produce in 100 years.
I want to say the last thing Jon Voight made was that psycho fucking Christian production company produced Roe v. Wade movie.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think he might have been like, I think he played Earl Warren or something. And then, I don't remember. It was like something fucking crazy. Yeah. I was like, what is this?
It's like, you know, no one better to revive a troubled industry than 3 people who have failed out of it, who are extremely unpopular and have ugly, lumpy faces from.
I think we can agree this is gonna snag the youth vote in a way that our minds are too feeble to understand, because many teens today are saying we don't have Sly Stallone in enough stuff.
Yep.
And I haven't had a good look at Mel Gibson's top lip in a while.
They said
Jon Voight, I know who that is. That's what they say.
They said, you know what the Gen Alphas said? They said, I'd like to look at a 90-year-old man with migrating fillers throughout his whole face. And then what's it called? The where you get your eyelids done.
Bluff.
Like an overdone bluff, and then strangely sort of male mascara. Or like
tattooed eyeliner.
Tattooed eyeliner. What's
you guys have that?
Do you guys have that? That's what I'd like to see. Yeah, I know. I only watch 7-second micro cinema.
I would Venmo you if you have that bluff guy. If you have a botched bluff man, I would Venmo you $7 for that.
I feel like Sylvester Stallone. What's that thing, that medication that's for something else, and then they realized it makes your eyelashes grow? It's like Latisse or something.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah,
I feel like he has that, but he just put it on like one eye, like the corner. You know what I mean?
You're a strange man, Sylvester.
Sylvester, by the way.
Sylvester.
Also, like, did anyone ever like Sylvester? Like, even when he was popular? Like, I don't mean like. I mean, like, was this ever a respected actor? He was always kind of like a silly goose.
I think so. I mean, I think people were like kind of shocked that Rocky did so well because he seems so stupid, but he wrote that, and it's a good movie. And I think everyone was like, what? But then it seems like that was just kind of a one-off, because everything else he's made since is very dumb. And he's weird.
I would have nothing against Sylvester if he hadn't become a special ambassador to Donald Trump's Hollywood Commission.
By the way, what does that fucking
They're
mean?
gonna fix, well,
you're gonna take some meetings with that little weirdo who runs Netflix that weird little gremlin that makes decisions at HBO Max. You're already doing that. What are you talking about?
It's just literally like, it means nothing because that's not how.
It's not a job.
It's not a job. It's not how like the system works. It's like, it's just a weird lip service to the people who think that Hollywood is too woke.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually do anything in Hollywood. It just like gasses those people up.
Yeah.
And like strokes Mel Gibson's ego and makes him think that maybe he's going to get cast in something, which he's not.
By the way. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, there's no lobbying you really need to do. All of the people who greenlight stuff are your people. They're all MAGA psychos who agree with you that Hollywood is too woke, which is why they're constantly like shelving movies that have Black people in them or whatever, like Disney movies that have a gay kiss. They're like getting rid of those,
right?
Because they agree with you. There's nothing to talk about. You know what I mean? What the fuck?
And they're also,
by the way, the audiences don't like it. Audiences find it off-putting. That's the money. That's where the money comes in, gang. But okay.
That's why things still do get made, because ultimately these are business people, and the audiences don't want to watch Jon Voight, Mel Gibson, and Sylvester Stallone
overturn Roe v. Wade in a fictionalized account of abortion. So weird, I know.
3 men and an unwanted baby that was supposed to be born.
I don't know. It's just, I hate everything.
I would watch that. I would watch.
Actually, Jon Voight, if you're listening, which I'm sure you are,
I would watch those three in a 3 Men and a Baby reboot. And the baby was gonna be aborted, and then they intervened, and then the mom was like, "Fine, it's your baby now."
They confronted her outside of a clinic, and that was the one time it ever worked. Or they run a crisis pregnancy center, and the girl came in there.
Yep,
and they were like, "Finally, our dream of us three raising a child together will come true."
Yeah,
and then they did, and the baby turned out to be a racist anti-Semite with a ton of plastic surgery. So
wow,
shout out to that baby. Yeah, that's a sequel though. That's 3 men and an unwanted lady.
Yeah.
So that's politics. I mean, it's just been, look, we have no idea what happened. I'm sure this week has been horrendous. Where we are in space and time, Donald Trump's nominees for these very important, like very critical executive branch positions are having their confirmation hearings. His attorney general pick, Pam fucking Bondi, refuses to say if she thinks the 14th Amendment grants birthright citizenship to people born in this country. By the way, it does. Very plainly says that. It's like the first thing you learn when you go to law school, by the way. And her answer to does the 14th Amendment provide birthright citizenship was, I will study the 14th Amendment. I am $150,000 in debt to a law school because that's where I studied the 14th Amendment. Pamela. So keep me posted on that. Elsewhere, there's like Pete Hegseth is refusing to say whether or not he would refuse to shoot protesters if Donald Trump asked him to. But honestly, I don't actually recommend you go back and watch these, but one of the best lines of questioning was like Tammy Duckworth, who was a service member herself, was like, just, okay, explain what the army is. And this is not a real, I'm paraphrasing. Yeah. And he basically was like, I don't know, dudes in outfits. Like he doesn't even know the basics of what the military does. She's like, what countries are in NATO? And he's like, never heard of it. So it's just like these guys, just the stupidest people, just the stupidest legacy admissions, and people like Pam Bondi, she got this nomination because she does corrupt favors for Donald Trump. She was the AG in Florida, and she helped him with his fake school thing. And after he gave her a huge donation to her campaign, it's like, that's why these people get picked. And now they get to decide whether or not
we live or die.
We live or die. Like literally, quite literally. It's like, I don't like the military, but it's still important that the person who runs the Department of Defense isn't a mouth-breathing psychopath.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's important that he know where countries are located.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
I do know, Megan.
I don't
And
care.
I don't care for it
Yeah.
from the
So
days of
here's what,
Hegseth.
because he's always been a grimy little fuck. His entire fucking life. Even his own mom thinks he sucks.
Isn't that amazing?
So here's what I will say, because I don't want to just leave on a note of complaints. I think what's been really disturbing to watch over the last couple of months, and I think by the time this airs, everybody will have been confirmed. I'm not sure. But I think what's been really disturbing is how many Democrats are willing to go along with some of these like very crazy nominees and very crazy, like MAGA policies, because they think because Donald Trump won and he won the popular vote. For some reason, Democrats have internalized that there's been this grand realignment in the country and that everyone is moving over to MAGA. And it's like not really true. It's like, yes, Donald Trump won and he won the popular vote, but it was like the narrowest electoral victory since Nixon, I want to say. There has not been some grand realignment. It's probably more likely that a lot of people just stayed home because they didn't want to vote for either person.
Everyone's depressed.
Because everyone's depressed and nobody has any money and they're not letting us watch movies anymore. And the only movie they let us watch is Three Men and an Unwanted Baby. and that's not that fun to watch. You know what I mean? So that, I don't think that's right. And I think that there's been like a lot of flailing from Democrats being like, well, I guess we have to vote for this psychotic anti-immigration bill that like lets cops put people in detention before they've even been convicted, like get them set to be deported for like stealing something from a CVS or something. Like, yeah, I guess it's bad to steal from a CVS.
No,
but
it's
like,
not.
Who cares really? But it like fast tracks deportations in a way that really like violates people's due process. And a ton of Democrats voted for it. And I think we're going to see a lot of that where Democrats feel like, oh, well, he won. He has a mandate, so I guess I have to be racist and transphobic now. So I guess all that to say, if you see that happening with your Democratic member of Congress, if you live in a Republican area, it's probably a lost cause. I don't know. But if you see your Democratic member of Congress or senator acting like a little freak, you give them a beep, boop, beep, boop, beep and say, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. You say, we used to have a society. We used to live by principles. You're a transphobe now? Pass.
Why? What are you talking about?
Who requested that? Literally no one. No one requested it except for actual psychopaths on Twitter.
Yeah.
Get over it, dude. We're not doing that. Okay.
I've been trying to examine why I feel so calm other than SSRIs, which I think is the real answer.
Other than my mood stabilizer. But what could be the reason?
I do feel like when there's an election at stake and you're trying to mitigate harm, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear it about, oh, we should let Trump win because that'll radicalize people or whatever.
No thanks.
But once he's already won, great, I'm ready. I'm ready for all those people to suddenly be radicalized.
You know where to find me. If you're feeling radicalized.
Because sure, let's put it to the test. Maybe it'll work. Great.
Yeah.
And I do feel like there is something galvanizing about watching an extreme collapse of
yes,
the systems all around us,
Yes.
So hopefully, and that is also why we need the Democrats to not capitulate.
Thanks. It would be super cool if you could consider being an opposition party. Something to think about.
Yeah.
But by the way, I've written about this in Swamp Person. Please subscribe. I know it's deranged to say this because I only put out 3, but I took a hiatus, took a vacation. I put out 3 and then I took a little vacay, but I am bringing it back. I promise it's not dead. But this is the sort of thing I want to talk about in Swamp Person. It's just like, this doesn't need to be happening. I think for our whole lives, Democrats have just like not represented anything tangible to me. I feel like every election I voted in, except with the exception of 2008 and maybe 2012 for Barack Obama, I didn't feel like I was voting for anything. I felt like I was trying to do a harm mitigation by picking the Democrat who was almost always very underwhelming. And I just feel like that is never a lesson that Democrats ever learn. And I would like them to learn it because I'm sick of this, dog. I don't like it. I don't like this. And I guess the last thing I'll say, if this makes anyone feel better, just a little silver lining. I've been reflecting on the first Trump administration and like kind of how we got through that. And look, I don't want to make light of this because this is going to be very difficult. Many people will be harmed, especially like the most vulnerable people in our society will be harmed. On the other hand, the one thing that kind of protected us from his worst impulses is that at the end of the day, he is very dumb and everyone around him is very stupid. And even more importantly, they're incompetent. Like they get all they want to do is play Game of Thrones with each other. And so sometimes they forget to be evil because they're too busy cannibalizing each other and being incompetent and like failing to do the thing that they want to do because they're too stupid. So again, many bad things will occur, but just try to remember how incompetent they were the last time. It's a little scarier this time because they do have the backing of like the Heritage Foundation and some of these like legacy organizations, like the Project 2025 stuff. And so those guys are a little bit more competent with their evil deeds. But still, I think that is just a little thing to hold on to in your heart for a little while and kind of hope for the best as we head forward and keep that congressional switchboard on speed dial because these fuckers are acting like idiots. So
Please, let's really do it this time. You got to call them.
You got to call them.
You
And
got to pick up the banana phone and let them know.
Pick up the banana phone and say, I don't like that. And finally, do what Lindy says, which is you don't have to do politics all the time. Do a little watercolor painting too. That's good for society. Say hi to your neighbors. Offer to, I don't know, mow your neighbor's lawn or something. Just be nice. And that will help.
Sexual.
Parentheses, sexual. And when I say mow your neighbor's lawn, what I mean is
Segment pubes.
That's right.
okay, we're going to end this segment. And then I'm going to say, well, and then the show's going to be over.
Le segment pubé.
Well, le segment poubé.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Segment poubé. It's been so long since we played that song. I'm low-key kind of glad we had a reason to do it, even though the reason was evil. But
Yeah.
at least we got to play the song.
I think we're going to have a lot of reasons to play it coming up, Megan.
I think you're gonna like what you hear if what you like is the segment pubes jingle. Okay, we're gonna end the show now, but first, you know what? It's an embarrassment of riches when it comes to jingles because we have a little bit of business to discuss before we head out.
Bubba business. Bubba business.
So good. Here's our business. First of all, subscribe to our Patreon, as we already said, patreon.com/textmebackpod. Here's another piece of business. We haven't gotten a freaking accolade on the podcast apps in 2 months. This cannot stand. This cannot stand. This show is powered by accolades.
Yep.
And Patreon subscriptions, but mostly accolades. And if we don't get the accolades, we die.
Yeah.
So
I feel like we used to have, I mean, maybe this is still in the credits, but I don't think it is. We used to have a recording that played every episode that said, and make sure you rate and review us. It helps people find the show.
It helps people find the show.
I don't know if we have that anymore because I never
don't know if we
listen all
do.
the way to the end. But you should.
But you should, because you never know what could be in there. You never know. Somebody listen to them and let us know what's in the
And if it's not in there, rate and review us. It helps people find the show.
Thanks. And it does, by the way. So
And we
if
need
you could
people
go
to
ahead
find
and
the
give us
show.
our little echoes.
And
then,
by the way, if
Yes.
I feel like this was a particularly good episode. So if you have someone who's on the fence, send them this one. I liked it.
Yeah, I think so. I think we done it again. Here's another piece of business. we will be in attendance at the frickin' On Air Fest with our friend Ronald Young, who hosts Pop Culture Debate Club. We will be debating two wonderful human individuals by the names, respectively, of Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. That's right. We will be debating John Travolta v. Nicolas Cage at the On Air Fest with Ronald Young, Pop Culture Debate Club. By the way, you can come to it. You can get tickets, and we got a 40% off discount code for you guys. We'll put the link to On Air Fest in the show notes, and if you want to come, you get a 40% off discount. The special code is POP, P-O-P, 40, the number 4, and the number 0. So come see us. I think it'll be really fun and funny. And if you get like a day pass, you can go to whatever all is happening that day, not just our show.
It's going to be so cool. There's going to be like a million cool podcasts.
Yeah.
happening.
And like celebrities and stuff. Like,
yeah, like us.
Anderson, like, yes, I was going to say just like us. I was not going to say like Anderson Cooper and Jamel Hill. I was going to say like Lindy West and Megan Hatcherbase.
You know who I hope, they have?
Who?
Pawpaw.
I hope Pawpaw is there. You know who I hope is there is those 3 sons that got him.
The boys.
I want to meet their psycho asses.
We should do Pop Culture Debate Club, which is
and we're gonna do Pawpaw versus the boys. I'll take Pawpaw
versus the boys. I think the boys won, but although we may still see Pawpaw's revenge. I don't know.
We don't know. We don't know. But we'll find out. So that's our main business. Please come and see us in Brooklyn if you can. That is the only thing we're doing in New York. I know the tickets are a little steep for On Air Fest, but we do have that little discount for you, and it should be fun.
I wish we could book a live text me back for New York since we're going to be there. Does anyone know anyone that runs the venue?
If you're New York, can you give us a call?
I mean, there's got to be like a comedy club or like a coffee shop.
A street corner.
Yeah.
I don't know. A Macy's display window.
Yes.
Please.
Come on. Let us do a live podcast.
Let us talk at people for fun. It will be a blast.
Paw podcast.
People love us, dude. So come on, New York. Do you have any other business? When's your class? Oh, I'm
teaching my class. My class starts in early Feb. We're going to be, it's a class about memoir writing. I'm teaching an online course called How to Be Funny When You're Sad, about how to turn your life into content, but in a way that you don't regret. That's actually kind of what the class is about. And
you better do it before the robots get your life story. So
literally, the robots, what are they saying? What are they saying, Megan? No, the robots are munching up everyone's life.
That's what they're doing to your intellectual property.
Yeah. So you got to get that written down and copyrighted right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really what the class is about, but it's going to be really good. There are scholarships available, and I will share all my wisdom. You can ask me about how to get started in publishing and how to write and how to make choices. It's going to be really fun. 3 sessions, February 6th, 13th, and 20. February 6th, 13th, and 20 over Zoom. So you can wear your gym jams. You don't even have to get dressed.
Oh, gym jams, you say.
Don't show your boobs, but you can wear your gym jams.
Those are my gym jams are my naked boobs.
Okay, then you have to have your camera off. You can be nude, but not on camera. Okay? That's just a boundary that I have. Mm-hmm. And anyway, you can sign up. The link is in the show notes.
Amazing.
All right.
And that's the Text Me Back podcast for today. I hope we haven't been imprisoned by Pam Bondi. If so, this is the last one. Goodbye.
I think she's a fan. I don't think so.
I don't think Pamela likes it. Okay, well, hopefully we'll be back next week. Who could say for sure? Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you so much for listening to Text Me Back. If you like the show, please tell your best friend about us. Be sure to rate and review us. It helps people find the show. And most importantly, please support our Patreon so we can keep making this. It's patreon.com/TextMeBackPod. Text Me Back is a production of Megan and Lindy, proud members of the BFF Network. Our senior producer is Megan Hatcher-Mays. Our other senior producer is me. Our show is supported by Copilot Collective. and produced by Allie Slice. Our digital strategist is Chance Nichols.
Diana Bowen is our video and creative wizard. Our production team includes Lindy West, Megan Hatcher-Mays, our loves, our anxieties, and our fears.
Our music is by Chief Ahamefule J. Oluo.
Special thanks to our perfect angels, Jeannie Yandel, Brandy Fullwood, and Isolde Raftery.
I'm Lindy West.
And I'm Megan Hatcher-Mays. See you next week. Mwah!